Hey Seeker, welcome to the Awakening Her podcast. I am so grateful that you've been led here, and I'm excited for you that you're answering the call to manifest more magic in your life by mastering the law of attraction. So cool. My name is Talia, and I'm committed to cutting the fluff and showing you exactly how to manifest more excitement, ease, success, abundance, confidence, love, and anything else you've been craving. So if you're ready to crack the code on manifestation, amplify your intuition, and play in the quantum, we are now besties. Let's do this. Hello, Seeker, and welcome back to the Awakening Her podcast. How are you doing today? I am your host, Talia Joy. If this is one of your first times here or you're new to the show, welcome. I am so excited to invite you into the community. We are just a bunch of seekers on the path of our awakening journey, manifesting everything that we desire, on the path to becoming the fullest expression of who we are, overcoming, rising, healing, moving through, developing our intuition, leaning into our soul's purpose, learning on this journey, and ultimately creating an incredible life for ourselves. So welcome. I have a feeling if you're here, then that kind of shit is your thing. Are you really into manifesting and creating an incredible life and growing through what you go through and healing and rising and getting unblocked and moving through? Is that what you're about? Because if you are, I have a feeling we're now besties. So I'm excited. Hello, welcome. To all of you that are not new to the show, welcome back, my love. Thank you so much for being the type of seeker that sticks in here with me and is continuing to up-level your life, to continue to do the work. You're the person who continues to transform and evolve and seek. And for that, I sacredly bow my head to you like spiritual people do, because I am one of those people as well. And so today's episode is really good. We are talking all about what to do when you are quote unquote blocked. I'm going to talk a little bit about how I see blocks, the different ways that we can navigate them. I'm going to give you some specific practical tools, as I like to give you, as well as the deeper energetic meaning to blocks. So I can't wait to talk about that. I want you to think of something as we get ready to dive into the episode that you feel blocked around. So maybe you use that language like I'm blocked, I feel stuck, or there's been something that you've been wanting to manifest for a long time that hasn't come through. That's kind of what we're talking about today, is how to navigate this with a growth mindset, with a manifestation mindset, because that is something that I have deeply learned about my clients in all of these years. P.S. It's the exact same for me. I know that my clients want to learn how to navigate life in a manifestation and growth mindset. It's not about always having a cushy experience. It's not about expecting bad things to never happen or for us to never experience a trigger. I know that you want to be resourced. You want to know how to move through these things and actually thrive through them. And lately, this is what we're talking about today. But lately, I just kind of wanted to share that there have been, even in the last 6 months, there have been some massive things like lifelong wounds. Like, I'm not exaggerating, things that have been with me for as long as I can remember that deeply impacted my ability to receive in manifestation, but also my ability to just feel good in my life and feel confident. And I have moved through some major things recently. And in addition to that, some major things have come up. I've had massive triggers. I share some of this more intimate stuff with my one-on-one clients. So you may have heard me talk about that if we work together personally. But some big triggers in the last few months that sent me into feelings of unworthiness and insecurity, and just, when we kind of just freak the fuck out because we're so triggered and we have to move through, like, why is this such a trigger? What's really going on here? And really having this growth, manifestation, self-resourced mindset. It doesn't mean that I don't go to people for help, mentors or friends. It doesn't mean self-resource doesn't mean that I don't need help. It just means that that I know the tools to use. I know how to move through the really dense, heavy emotion. I know how to spot a trigger, or best of all, how to accept the spiritual, the spiritual assignment that is coming up. And so I'm guessing if you're here, you're like that too, right? And that's something I've really recognized is almost like the most natural gift I have is to see a situation from a bigger perspective, not bigger as in better, but bigger as in like the higher perspective of why this is happening versus just, this sucks. How do I get out of it? It's almost like why it's happening. And it's the spiritual assignment behind it. So I am getting all into this in this episode. I don't want to give too much away. But this is really why we're here, to accept the spiritual assignments. Because every time we desire something new, a deep desire calls forward a transformation of sorts. And it calls forward a spiritual assignment. We don't just ask for money and it gets dropped in our lap, or else we would all be all the things that we want to be. But it's not quite that simple, but there still is a formula to it. And when you're willing to accept the spiritual assignment of what's coming up, you're allowed to move forward. So really what I wanted to say, because I am going to get much deeper into that in a second, I just wanted to say, hey, and welcome to the show. I have a feeling you're in the right place, that you want to learn how to navigate life and know that you are still manifesting, even when shit hits the fan, even when things feel uncertain. And that is the biggest change that has been going on in my experience, as I've moved through some very deep shit. And it didn't slow down my momentum. And I used to think every time I'm triggered, now I'm focusing on this and it's slowing down my manifestations. And I've actually realized the gift in it recently and how to navigate it much more powerfully and clearly. It's all come through my channel, through writing my book, my work in clients, my signature work for transformation, through Activated and the manifestation for I've just fully embodied my own teachings and what comes through me. And holy shit, you guys, the difference. So I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad that we are in this journey together, and just welcome. Whether you're new here or not, welcome, my love. Okay, so before we dive into this episode and get more into all of this stuff, I wanted to let you know about a full moon clearing and activation coming up on the full moon at the end of November. I believe it's the 27th. We're going to have a beautiful full moon clearing, but we're also going to have, half the time is going to be an activation of quote unquote her, your higher self, your next evolution of where you are going. Because not only do we need to be cleared, we also want to anchor this new energy into ourselves for real change. This is what starts to shift our identity, ourselves. The message we're giving ourselves is it's embodying this higher frequency and receiving wisdom and guidance and knowledge and insight from this version of us, our higher self, the version of us that has manifested what we are going for, the next evolution of who we are. We actually activate that version of us in the quantum, start to embody them now to really accelerate manifestation. So it's not just your average full moon ceremony, although basically all full moon ceremonies are awesome, but this is my style. So we will be doing a beautiful chakra clearing, as you've come to know and love from me, and we will also be doing a cellular activation, and I cannot wait for what's going to go down in that evening. So join me. The link is below. I also am getting super, super ready to announce my big, beautiful new thing that I have been elusive about. I'm not going to go into too many details. There's more details at the beginning of the last episode. But it's basically offering you a beautiful way to be able to do exactly what I'm talking about, to be self-resourced, to learn the process of transformation in not a weird, heavy, hard to get way. It's going to make so much sense. It's going to be so clear, and it just systematizes, I guess is the word. It just systematizes what you are going through. It just gives you the step-by-step process of hey, when you're triggered, these are your options, and learning how to reprogram the things you've learned about yourself, learning how to activate who you truly are, your whole authentic self, your core values, really that natural magnetism, that soul essence, activating that truest part of you, healing the things that you have learned about yourself that are not conducive to where you're going, and really stepping the fuck into this new evolution, because you are ready. We are seekers of the path. You have been doing the work for so long. You're ready to really ground in and get those results and have an entire an entire system, as I say, but also the resources and the tools, from journal prompts to breath work to pep talks and aha moments and deep dive trainings. I've got you covered. It's going to be next level. I've been saying within myself, I keep hearing, I'm revolutionizing the way we learn. And I know that's a big claim, but I am really excited about how this whole thing is unfolding. I'm so grateful for the spiritual guidance from Source to allow me to have these breakthroughs come through, to be able to share it in this way. So I won't be too vague, and I also won't go on and on. If you want to check out what the heck I'm talking about, you can click below. There is a link called On The Path. For right now, you can get on the wait list. All I'm going to do is email you as we get closer. You're going to get full first access on the wait list, as well as the introductory wait list price. So I am really excited to support you further and to help you to self-heal and self-manifest. And that's the difference. That's what I feel for you, is it doesn't mean you can't have help, because I'm right now in a group program with a coach and I have mentors and healers I go to, but you also want to know how to do it for yourself, and then access that support when you need someone to help you activate, when you want to bounce something off of somebody. Definitely have that support, have a coach, work in depth. It changes your life, but also it's so important to learn how to fish, to learn how to navigate your triggers, your wounds, to be able to identify these core patterns that come up, to illuminate why you have been blocked. That is so important, and that's what we're going to do with On The Path, and I'm really excited. So you can click it below, get on the wait list. Of course, it's free. It's all that. I'm just going to send you that notification letting you know when we're starting to roll it out, and you can start to jump on it if it resonates with you. Okay. So today we are talking all about being blocked. And this is maybe one of the most common things I hear. People either saying why am I blocked? Or they come to me wanting to manifest, maybe it's more money or business. And under that, they just want more freedom in their life. They want connection. They want fulfillment. They want inner peace. And they go, I feel blocked. I feel like it's just never able to come through. The money, the job, the inner peace, the confidence. And this is a block, or this is a place where we feel stuck, right? And we all feel this. So the first thing I want to say is, you might not even hear me. You might just discard this. But the fact that you feel quote unquote blocked does not mean you're actually blocked, and doesn't mean that you are doing it wrong. I want you to really hear me, because forever deep down, I thought if I was doing this right, I wouldn't be blocked. Because everybody online's like, oh, I did this thing and bam, tropical vacation. Oh, I did this thing and bam, $100,000. And I'm like, where's my bam? And where's my next thing? I feel blocked, right? And one of the biggest things we have to reframe are these beliefs. Being stuck, or not knowing your next step, or feeling like you are not moving forward as fast as you want, does not actually mean you're blocked. So let's start stripping away the meaning, right? What would you say means you're blocked? And in your head, you might say, well, I feel stagnant. I have no clarity. I'm not making any more money. I'm not, quote unquote, moving ahead. Okay. So all of those things, just because you're not making the money yet, doesn't mean you're not actually on the right path. And this might be a bit of a paradigm shaker upper. And as I said, some people are just going to even disregard it, because they're going to be like, no, if I had the breakthrough, I would get the results. That's always what I see. Or you hear me and then you're like, okay, but what is my next breakthrough so that I can get the results? But sometimes the biggest shift at the beginning is going, I'm not stuck and blocked. And I want to share with you that we create how this life goes. What you assume to be true, what you put out to be true. I call them life rules. What you create, what you declare, immediately goes out into your experience and becomes so. And there's many different ways that we do this. I'm not going to get into this necessarily fully today. Energetically, we create more physical blocks and resistance, but the mental aspect, when we say God, source, universe, higher being, because I don't have clarity right now, that means I'm blocked. When we put that out there, I hate to say this, but Spirit's like, well, your wish is my command. Law of attraction. I can't really get around that. Spirit can't out miracle your shitty attitude. And I mean that in so much love because I need to check myself too, right? So let's soften that a little bit. Spirit cannot deliver you the money when you're endlessly fixated on being blocked. Spirit can't deliver you the clarity when you're telling yourself and declaring out into the universe that you are stuck with no clarity. So one thing you can start to do right now that starts to create different results, because remember, manifestation is more about who you are being than what you are doing. So what you can say right now to start changing the trajectory is, even though I feel XYZ, even though I feel stuck, even though I feel blocked, even though I feel frustrated, even though I feel unclear, I am still moving forward. I was going to say, it doesn't not mean, no, let's not do that. Just because what I say to myself all the time is, just because I don't have clarity right now doesn't mean I'm not moving forward. Just because I didn't smash all my income goals and triple X, 10X everything from last month, that does not mean that I am not moving forward. So remember that analogy of, I think it's bamboo, and there's some species of bamboo that actually grows down for the first 3 years or something. And it looks on the surface like there is literally nothing happening until that, I think it's the 4th or 5th year. And it all of a sudden has grown all the roots that it needs. It's grown all the foundation. It's spread out under the earth. And all of a sudden it skyrockets up into the sky, and it's growing a foot every couple months, legitimately. But up until that 5-year mark or so, it looks like nothing is happening. Would you say that bamboo was wrong, stuck, not moving forward? Well, no, because you have the full picture. And that's what I was kind of saying earlier in the beginning of this about having that higher perspective. It's more the full picture. It's not better or higher or more enlightened. It's the full picture. You're experiencing this stuck or stagnancy because there is something that they are trying to get your attention about. The universe is trying to get your attention. So from this place of feeling stuck and stagnant, and in this new work, I'm actually creating a whole training on exactly this. These are the different paths you can take. Feel into what feels good for you. So I'll kind of just briefly talk about this. So when you're feeling stuck, number one, you can say, even though I feel stuck, I am still moving forward. Even though I feel unclear, I am still moving forward. And then we can sit and go, what part of me feels stuck? What is it that is me declaring I'm stuck? And so then you might say, well, I have no idea what to do to get out of this, or I just keep making the same amount of money no matter what. And so once you kind of pinpoint what is happening, that's what I would ask my client is tell me about the looping pattern. Tell me about the pattern you get into. So maybe it's with dating, or maybe it's with money, or maybe it's with confidence, where it's you're going along okay, maybe even some progress, and then something happens and you feel right back at square one. Maybe you meet someone, they're awesome, and it never seems to pan out. Or the same type of thing with money. Make some money and then it always goes. So we need to look at, what do you mean stuck? Tell me about the looping pattern. And you could even write out in your journal or say out loud what happens, as if you're talking to a friend. And then you might find yourself going well, I just feel like I always go to move forward and then it never pans out, or these things I'm saying, but coming from your voice. I hit a ceiling and I can never make any more money. Once we start to identify what the looping pattern is, this is the part where I really help my clients to see the spiritual assignment. So maybe with confidence, I, will feel okay, but then something happens. Maybe a family member says something, an old trigger, or I look at myself in the mirror, or I feel confident, or maybe it's about you get a critique at work and it just sends your confidence plummeting, or whatever it is. You feel like you messed up as a parent and all of a sudden you're oh, I'm a shitty human. It's I was going along fine and then something happened and it threw me right off. And this is where we go, okay, what could this be calling me to see or do or embody? So if this is very new to you, it might not seem as obvious here. That is the benefit of working with someone or working through journal prompts, quote unquote, doing the work to start following the breadcrumbs, because you can do this on your own. You don't need an intuitive or anything. You just need to know what questions to ask yourself. What could be the assignment here? So for me, and this is painstakingly obvious, meaning the assignment isn't hidden and a tricky thing. It's if you are never able to step into confidence, what they're calling you to do is to find your confidence. So I know that seems obvious because that's what you're trying to do, but this is the time to really look at what is preventing me from being confident. Okay. Every time, I get triggered and then I feel like a failure. That seems to be something that comes up a lot. I feel like a failure, or I feel ugly, or I feel not smart enough, or I feel not competent, or I feel like I should be ahead by now, or whatever it is. Start to zero deeper in on what is actually going on. And in this place, ideally, we start to not analyze, but look at and, flirt with and kind of ask questions, but we don't need to dive right into the heaviest of the heavy. It actually helps to kind of stay on the outskirts and kind of go, well, every time I look in the mirror, I just crumble into feeling not good enough. Instead of it getting right into the story, because once we're right into the emotion, it's hard to make our way out. That's a whole other toolbox of getting myself vibrationally out of this low point. That's a little bit different. I can touch on that in a second. But really seeing what does actually happen. Well, I'm feeling good, and then I go on a date with someone, they seem good, but then they always break up with me, and then my confidence tanks. And then you kind of follow that breadcrumb going okay, why is that, do you think? And if you've done any kind of healing work, this is where it's important to do the healing work to move through the block. And it doesn't have to be years of healing and deep, painful excavation. But what you could do is go, why do I think that is? Is there something that's happened in my life that reminds me of that? Or somewhere where I've been abandoned or something like that, right? So I have a chunk of energy that I work with that is, nobody really cares at the end of the day. And that's come from my own wounding, my own perceptions, bullying, family dynamics, all the stuff. I will default into nobody actually cares. I'm on my own. So I need to really watch that. And sometimes I'm feeling blocked with something and I'm like, am I trying to do this on my own? Or am I thinking that people out there don't actually care? Or am I not asking for help because I think, you know what I mean? You start to see your narratives and see them at play. So to back up, because this might be getting confusing, sometimes it's hard to sort through the energy and the message. But when we are blocked, it's asking us to see something. It's asking us for a deeper level of healing, because I want you to really hear this. When we are wanting to manifest something, spiritually, we are actually asking to morph and expand into that person. So when I started my business and I have these dreams and goals of one day writing a book and one day being on stage and one day leading all these, beautiful seekers all over the world and, doing all of these things, I'm not actually intending on a soul level, tomorrow, beam me onto a stage. It's about the evolution of becoming that version. And that's why I do the her work, because that version of you, whether it's her or him or them, that version of you that is already living the dream life, they're not just sitting there with a whole bunch of cash. That's not the full picture. They're sitting there with a whole bunch of cash, sure, but they also are feeling good in their life. They're in a place of gratitude. They're maybe even in their dream home or with the family they've been wanting, or living out in the bush, or traveling, or they're fulfilled. They're playing their instrument. They're creating their art. They're laughing. They have connection. They feel freedom in their life. That's the full picture. So yes, the stages or the money or the one thing we want is really important, but spirit's in here for the highest good. And the highest good isn't just to give you cash when you want it. They want to give you cash, but they're asking you to grow into that person, into that more magnetic version of you, into that more excitement and gratitude and alignment, quote unquote, with your soul and your inner being and who you're becoming. So when you're asking for manifestations, when you're asking for more money, for example, your soul is taking you on a journey of building your worthiness up to the place where you make $50,000 a month or $100,000 a year or $2 million a year, whatever your goal is. You have to grow into that person. And it can be quick. Quantum leaping is real. Think of the times you have changed a lot of shit in your life in the course of a couple months or a year or a couple years. Like, we can change really quickly. But it's when we stop endlessly just chasing the thing and actually asking, what does this require me to grow into? What does this require me to step into? That's why I love the her work, because then you get to actually speak to that version of you that is already living the life and going like, what do you do for self-care? What do you do when you're stuck? Who has mentored you or helped you? Or how have you healed through that trauma? Or how have you managed to make more money? It is incredible what your higher being says, because it's not just about the one offer in your business that's going to make you $1 million. It's about becoming the embodiment of $1 million bitch. Becoming the embodiment of what you want. If you want a partner, Spirit's calling you to become the embodiment of love and connection and relationship. If you're wanting more confidence, Spirit's asking you to find that confidence within yourself that is already always there. The confidence you were born with, the confidence from Spirit, God, your soul, your angels, your grandma in heaven, whoever you want to pull it from, that confidence that comes from a timeless place, that doesn't come from your body, that doesn't come from your bank account, that doesn't come from the cool shit that you're doing or not doing. It's the confidence that is already here within you because you're on a spiritual journey. So often when you're blocked, it's because you're looking too much at the physical thing and not enough at what is this desire calling me to step into. Because when I say my desires of like, I want to be on stages and host retreats, that doesn't just take someone being like, okay, I'll fund you. You can show up. Like, that's the embodiment of a fucking leader. That's what my soul was calling for 7 years ago when I started this. Was like, girl, you're going to be a leader. You are meant to be that. You already are that. Let's incrementally activate the fucking leader within you to be the embodiment of what you say you want, not just plunk me on a stage. Like, that's cool. But it's not the full thing of what I want, because I could be plunked in front of a stage of like 50-year-old, like men who are like golf pros. And I'm like, these aren't really the people I was talking about, right? It's not about being plunked on stage. It's about becoming that version that overcame, that worked through, that scraped together the confidence when I didn't have it, that relied on spirit, that relied on intuition, that continuously healed and did the work and moved forward into the place where I could stand on stage and help people to transform, not because I'm on stage, but because of who I am being. So your big goals, the goal of writing a book isn't just about writing a book. It's about becoming the author, becoming the person that shares their message, that shares their story, that helps others. So when you want, you're also allowed to have goals that aren't just about transforming the world. Like, you're allowed to call in $20,000 if you need it for a course or for travel or for your car, or it doesn't even matter what it's for. You're allowed to call that in, but they're still going to ask you to be the embodiment of someone who can call in 20 grand overnight. So that's not usually where you're starting from, is the type of person who knows that they can create 20 grand out of nowhere. You might have to incrementally upgrade, as I talked about in the last episode. You may have to become the person that can manifest a cup of coffee, no fucking problem. And then your belief is increased. And then you can go out and manifest $20 or $100 or a government rebate or to win something. And then you're like, oh shit, yeah. And before long, you're like, I manifested an extra $10,000 this month. And then before long, you're like, I did it, the 20 grand, but that was you becoming a match. So often when you are quote unquote blocked, quote unquote stuck, it's because you are not fully accepting the spiritual assignment. And I just also want to say that even me, wisey pants intuitive channel over here, it takes me a long ass time. There are a lot of times as I'm writing my book and I'm talking about my rock bottoms and my initiation through the embodiment of these spiritual assignments, out of my eating disorder particularly, the messages and the nudges and the spiritual assignments were coming forward for years before I was ready to accept them. That's normal. It's okay. Your intuition's been telling you what you need to do for a long ass time. Chances are you've been ignoring it. Me too, though. But the change happens when we lean in a little more and we go, you know what? Instead of just focusing on the money I'm not manifesting or focusing on how blocked I feel, number one, even though I feel blocked, it doesn't actually mean I'm blocked. Number two, even though I feel stuck, I don't know why I started numbering them. I had nowhere to go from there. Number two, even though I feel unclear, I am still moving forward. Right there, you shift. And then you start going, what could this be calling me into? And if you're trying to write a book that is your story, maybe it's bravery and owning your story, finding your voice as an author. Maybe you do need like a book coach or a book mentor to really help get you going. Or maybe it's more about your internal empowerment, feeling, maybe you feel resistance to share your story because of the people in your life, or there's just something to move through. That's it. A block is just something to move through, and you are on the path. When you get stuck and when we feel like we want something so bad, it feels so backwards. I want to say that like humans, we have a really hard time really accepting this, but it doesn't actually mean we're stuck. It means that the universe is trying to actually bring us what we want, but we have to be willing to accept the spiritual assignment. And as we learn how to love ourselves into health instead of punishing ourselves, or as we learn how to become our own partner before we find a partner and how to offer ourselves that love, or as we find how to value ourselves and become the embodiment of abundance as we're on our journey, as we learn how to find our leader pants and put on that suit and activate that part of us, we still get to manifest along the way. There'll still be blessings every time you accept an assignment, something else pops forward. So do please also notice the blessings you've had in your life. Sometimes when we feel stuck, that's another thing that's happening is we're not actually seeing our progress. We're not actually seeing how far we have come. But if someone sat us down and said, how far have you come? Tell me about the last 3 months, the last 6 months, the last 5 years. You're going to be like, holy shit, like I've been 27 different people. And that was just in the last 3 months. Like things are changing. I am moving forward. I took my first course, or I started writing in a journal, or I discovered Kundalini, or I had these big realizations, or I've hired a coach, or whatever. You are moving forward. So stop thinking you're blocked. Reframe that shit, see how much you're moving forward, and most importantly, meditate, dive deep, ask yourself, what is this asking me to do? What is this showing me? What is the spiritual assignment? And if you don't want spiritual, self-growth assignment, same. The reason I say spiritual is because your soul is asking you to grow. That's the spirit part of it, but it is a self-development thing. It truly is. It's like I was asking for so much money, but I did not value myself. I didn't have self-worthiness, worth money. This banana is worth $2. Worth. Do you get it? just saying the word worth a lot of times until you get it. Worth. You're like, whoa, it was that third worth. I got it. Money is worth. Money is value. So maybe you're not valuing yourself, my love, and that's why you can't call in the money. Or maybe you are resisting increasing your services and you're charging not a lot, aka not valuing yourself. Or you don't believe that you are someone that can win money. Or you don't believe that you're someone that can ask for a raise. Or you don't believe you're someone that can manifest money seemingly out of nowhere. Because you've got these stories of lack and scarcity and money doesn't come easy. That's probably the thing that they're asking you to work through, to dismantle. And that's what I'm talking about at the beginning with this new, extremely powerful learning portal on the path, is you just need to learn how to navigate life so that you are on the path no matter what's coming up. And you can witness your blocks. You can witness your lack, your scarcity, you're feeling stuck, you're feeling unclear, not good enough, and move through it with tools. Because the opposite is going, I'm stuck. And it's almost like you're like wiping your hands clean. Like, that's it. I'm stuck. Okay, well, and it's just more in victim. more staying stuck, more staying blocked. And I don't mean this to make fun of. I promise you, I love you so much. But the more we stay in like, poor me, I'm blocked. And like, I used to do that. I'd reach out to people and coaches, be like, I'm blocked. And it's okay because that was legit. I was blocked. I was frustrated. I did feel stuck. But the thing I've realized is the more I stay in, I'm stuck, I just stay there. Like, the longer you stay in I'm stuck, the longer you stay in I'm stuck. Like, I know it's obvious, but we often relish in it. And I want to say something that I didn't plan on saying, but at one point in my recovery journey with my eating disorder, I came face to face with the question, who would I be if I wasn't suffering? And like, that wrecked me. Like, who would I be if I wasn't the suffering one, the fucked up one, the anguish one? Who would I be if I wasn't suffering? And at the time, it really helped me through my healing, even though it rocked me at first. But I realized I had a slight addiction to suffering, even though that's not at all what I wanted to do. But it was because I felt like I was crying out for help. And to continue suffering is like asking for help and trying to get supported and getting attention and having people not feel bad for me, but want to help. And like, maybe if I'm suffering hard enough, somebody will tell me they love me. Maybe if I'm suffering hard enough, somebody will reach out a hand and be my saving grace. And staying in that place, I didn't learn how to become my own saving grace or even how to ask for help. I just suffered, hoping somebody would come in and give me an intervention, but I wasn't asking for help. So there was a lot of different layers I had to move through to witness, like, what do I need? And if you need help, don't wait, and I know sometimes it's the money, it's this, it's that, but whether it's one session with a counselor or an intuitive or a mentor or a coach or whoever, little incremental shifts. And that's what I would do is I'd go see like an energy person and not scrambly, but then I'd like even invest in like a massage if I could at the time, or I would just try to do things that it's like, what do I need? It's like, okay, well, I'm in pain. I really could use a massage. Okay, give myself that. It's almost like, how can I move myself out of just straight up suffering? And if I need help, I wish I didn't wait so long. I always had money as the story, and you don't have to, hire fancy coaches, but I used money as a story to keep me stuck instead of really getting resourceful and being like, how could I save up to maybe have one counseling session a month or ask my parents for help or whatever, right? Sometimes we need to go outside our box just to get unstuck. But ultimately, you don't even need to go to other people. I'm just don't want to say don't go to other people. It's important to get help. And it's important to ask yourself those questions instead of just staying stuck going, what could spirit, my higher being, my angels be calling me toward? And you can even ask them for help, like, show me the spiritual assignment. It's just that, again, you have to know how to read life. Because if you say, what is the spiritual assignment behind not being able to make more money? Tomorrow, you might be triggered into self-worthiness issues. You might be triggered into, you say you're going to up your rates and then someone says to you, how much is it to work with you? And you're like, oh my God, freak out. And you like give a lower rate than you've even been giving because you just panic. You might be triggered. That's the thing, is that's how they show you. So become a life reader, decode your own energy and life, learn how to do that. I would love to help you with On The Path. It's not that complicated. It feels so good. I've got you. I've got your hand, but you can do that even just with what we're talking about today. Asking yourself, what is the spiritual assignment? Intuition. What are you trying to show me? Quantum version of me, her. What guidance do you have? There's a lot of different ways to go about it, but ultimately know that feeling stuck doesn't mean you're actually stuck. Feeling blocked doesn't mean that you're blocked. Change that meaning. A roadblock is a detour in the right direction. This is trying to get my attention. What is trying to get my attention, right? Like, just flip the script a little bit out of I'm stuck, because the more you say I'm stuck, the more you stay stuck. And spirit can only deliver you what you are declaring, what you know to be true. So if you say I'm open to seeing the spiritual assignment, now they can deliver it to you. If you're just saying I'm stuck, they can't deliver it to you. When you're saying what's wrong with me, they can't deliver it to you. That's the wrong question to ask. Ask, what do I need to see? Because there's nothing wrong with you, my love. Spirit goes, there's nothing wrong with you, so there's nothing to show you. But what you're trying to say is, why am I in this looping pattern and how can I get out of it? Not what's wrong with me, right? That's a very different question. If I go to my mechanic and I'm like, what's wrong with my car? They could probably tell me a million things. Like, oh, there's some rust here, and oh, this tire's half deflated. But if I'm like, what is that ticking sound? Then they go into the ticking sound and they're like, that's what it is. So don't ask what's wrong with me. Don't ask, why am I so stuck? Say, what is Spirit trying to have me see? What do I need to step into to embody this goal? What do I need to step into to receive the money, the partnership, the success that I'm going for? And if you need to, don't delay getting help. Whether it's investing in yourself with, as I say, a mentor, a coach, a therapist, whatever, one session of something, or this On The Path work, if it calls you, it's very inexpensive, monthly, low investment that it's not out yet, but that's going to be soon. But just something. Sometimes when I do that, I'm like, fuck it, I'm buying a 10 punch pass at the yoga class just to have my back for the next month. And I know that I can go to yoga when I'm feeling tough and rough instead of just staying in, I'm stuck. What can you do to move yourself through, to accept the spiritual assignment, to see it differently? So I hope that this has helped you today. I'm sending you so much love. Make sure to ask yourself those questions. I would love to see you in the full moon clearing as well as on the path. It is so epic and so fresh and new, and I'm so excited to get my work out into the world in a bigger way, in a more accessible way, in an easier way for it to be digested and really put into practice, to get those practical, tangible steps and tools. I've got your back. I love you. All of that information plus so much more is below in the show notes. And I'd love to see you over on Instagram as well. If you have not come and find me yet, at Talia Joy Manifestation. I can't wait to see you over there. With that, have a fantastic day. Love you so much. Talk to you soon. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. I want you to take a second to put your hand on your heart and maybe even take a deep breath and take in everything that was talked about today that resonated with you. Invite it into your cells, invite it into your mind and into your energy as you upgrade your life. It was a pleasure connecting with you in this episode. If you want more, come find me on Instagram at Talia Joy Manifestation, and I'll see you in the next episode. Sending you so much love.